What is up, Pitt fans? Thank you so much for tuning in to Inside the Panthers on YouTube. My name is Stephen Thompson, coming at you with an emergency recording of the Inside Pitt Report because we've got big news. Ishmael Leggett is back for the Pitt Panthers. He will return for his senior season and will play in blue and gold for the 2024-2025 campaign. Excuse me, stumbling over my words a little bit. Another massive pickup for the Panthers and for head coach Jeff Capel comes a week after they announced that Jalen Lowe, the starting point guard, will return. This helps really, really ease the blow of losing Bub Carrington to the NBA draft. You'd kind of wondered, okay, well, they lost Bub. You think that Leggett and Lowe will return. I think all signs pointed to them returning, but in this day and age of college basketball, you really never know for sure until you get these official announcements. I remember last year at the end of football season, not the end of this past football season, but the end of the I guess it was the end of the 2023 football season. You started to see something a little different. You didn't get, you know, players announcing that they were going to the transfer portal. You didn't get players. You did get players announcing that they were going to the draft, but for most of these underclassmen, uh, who their options were either come back to Pitt or go to the transfer portal, you saw them through Alliance 412, the NIL collective most affiliated with Pitt. You saw them post graphics announcing that certain players were back. It was when I kind of realized that like nothing is guaranteed, like even the guys that you assume will come back, you can't assume. I mean, they are all free agents at the end of the year, because I believe their scholarship agreements are good for 1 year, and unless they choose to exercise their right to, or unless they want to stay, most players are going to explore their options. And so until you get firm word on anything, guys are just assumed to be kind of free agents. So a big sigh of relief getting both him and Lowe back. I mean, that is the foundation of a really good backcourt, arguably one of the better ones in the ACC as it stands right now. That's knowing that every team has a lot of roster building to do. We are only in April. The national championship was decided roughly 48 hours ago, a little more than that. Or a little less than that, excuse me. So nothing is guaranteed at this point, but the Panthers have a really good foundation to build on. I also think this reflects, first of all, really well on the coaching, obviously. I mean, there's clearly good relationships between Capel and his players and the rest of the staff, like Milan Brown, especially, who works with the guards. And I believe, was kind of one of the lead recruiters in getting Leggett when he was in the transfer portal and thinking about coming to Pitt. So I think it speaks really highly of what they're able to do. Obviously, having a player potentially go in the first round of the NBA draft, maybe even be a lottery pick, doesn't hurt you when you're trying to tell certain guards, hey, look, we can do this for you at Pitt. We're not necessarily known as an NBA factory, but we have coaches who have been through this, who know how to handle guys who want to go to the NBA and can give them good advice and point them in the right direction and get them where they want to go. That's all good stuff. But I think this also, and I think more importantly, says good things about Pitt's NIL efforts. I think it was a good sign when they were able to uh, keep Blake Hinson for another year. I think it was a good sign when they were able to land Greg Elliott and Nelly Cummings. But this is a bit of a different animal. This is retaining guys who probably were worth a little bit more to other programs if they were enticed to transfer, especially Lowe, such a young guy, a guy that you would expect will stay around for a couple years. It could be a long-term investment for teams, and especially for Pitt. And they have clearly done what they need to do to keep these guys around. I don't think that Lowe and Leggett are exclusively about NIL. I don't think they're exclusively chasing the bag, but I'd be lying if I told you that I don't think it's important to just about every college kid who's playing college sports right now. So the Panthers clearly doing all right, at least on that front, even if they are not, competing with the big boys in Louisville or Kansas or Kentucky, or even Texas A&M. At least on the basketball front, they know that they are doing well enough to keep guys that they have good relationships with. They're not being pulled away by, such ridiculous amounts of money because they don't have it. So I think that's a positive sign as well. On the basketball court, I mean, you've seen what Ish Leggett has done. He has a scoring punch. I'm curious as to whether he comes off the bench again. I assume he is going to start. I think that's kind of the ideal role. I think you need him. unless you get some star guard out of the portal, or another star wing. Like, I think that's the only way that you really, like, literally, I think you need to get a guard that is just as, if not better than Leggett, but you'd also need to get a forward that can score more than Leggett, and then, the big man of your dreams to make a lineup where Ish Leggett would not start. So I'm assuming that he's going to start. I think he's going to return to that role. He'll add a scoring punch. He'll had great leadership as well, just as a veteran guy, kind of a steely veteran, one of the older guys on the team, if not the oldest guy on the team now that Blake Hinson is out of there. And then fantastic perimeter defense as well. I think it goes kind of underrated how good of a defender he was, how many steals he got, and how he was kind of able to anchor this defense and be switchable, be versatile with his strength, even if he's maybe a little undersized at around 6'2" or 6'3". So Leggett, a fantastic player. He showed an ability for the clutch, to make plays in the clutch. I thought against Duke and Virginia, the third Wake Forest game, I should say. Um, and a couple other times this year, it seemed like there were times when the Panthers were spiraling a little bit, and then Ish Leggett comes right down, makes a confident bucket in isolation through contact, and the Panthers feel like they're back where they started, and they're back stabilized and settled. And I think that was a critical attribute and characteristic for Leggett to have this year. And I think it'll be even more important next year. My only question is really, how much room is there for Leggett to grow? Are we just going to get another year of what he did last year, which, make no mistake, was really, really good and really, really valuable? But is Leggett going to be able to step up with two of the Panthers' leading scorers headed out? Blake Hinson and Bub Carrington leave massive roles as not just scorers, but as playmakers as well, especially, thinking about Carrington. Lowe and Leggett are going to have to step up and help account for that. And I think it's easier to imagine a world where Lowe takes a very serious step forward just because he is so young. Uh, Leggett is closer to a finished product because he is older. That is not a knock on him. He is a very, very good player, but you just wonder how much room there is left to grow. And I feel like that's the one of, if not the first things we're going to ask Jeff Capel when the next time we get to talk to him is, what's the next step for Ish? How can he improve? How is he going to get better? And how is he going to help lead this team and into its next era, its next stage? I mean, Blake Hinson was kind of represented one era. It was the rebuild, it was the comeback, and now the Panthers are really trying to grow their brand and kind of raise the ceiling a little bit. How will Ish Leggett help them do that? There's still a long way left to go. Like I said, I mean, Pitt is very far from a complete roster. Just about everyone in the country is. Pitt has 4 open scholarships left to fill, and they haven't really made any moves at all in the portal. Most of their, offseason moves have been keeping Lowe and Leggett in-house, and then watching a few other guys head out for the transfer portal. So they have a lot of, wiggle room, and they have a lot of roster spots to address needs with. And just how they're going to do that remains to be seen. They've sent out a bunch of offers. They've made contact. We're waiting for commitments now, and you start to see, little by little, guys are starting to commit as they come out of the transfer portal, and you're just waiting on that first one to land with Pitt. You're waiting on them to kind of make their first move out of the portal. So that's exciting. It's good things to look forward to. Pitt gets more good news this week after getting some good news with Lowe last week, and now they have the foundation of a really fantastic backcourt heading into the 2024-25 season. Appreciate you all tuning into this video to react to the Ish Leggett news. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/Inside the Panthers, and follow all of our reporting from the rest of the basketball offseason, but also football offseason, the spring game, and the finale of spring ball at the end of this weekend into this weekend. Like I said, appreciate you all tuning in, and I will see you next time.